Yeah, to all the killers and the $100 billers.
Hello, welcome to another video. This is pretty impromptu, but a lot of news happened today in NFL free agency. I was not planning on recording a video today, but figured might as well go over all the news that happened today. So let's get right into it. No intro needed. First off, let's start with something that's very important to me, considering how I'm a Seahawks fan. Geno Smith finally got his new contract, 3 years, 105 million. I love it. Not at all, Matt, opposed to this. I thought, or I was afraid it would actually be more money. So to only get him for about 35 million, well, exactly $35 million a year, I'm a I'm a big fan of it. So let's get right into it. Geno Smith, let's look at his stats. Obviously, comeback player of the year, Pro Bowler this year, but I'm not really sure how many people are just aware of how good of a season Geno really had. If you look at it here, led the league in completion percentage, which is, I mean, ridiculous. 572 attempts, over 4,000 yards, over 30 touchdowns. Well, 30 touchdowns. That's not easy. That's not common. That doesn't happen every day. He was sacked 46 times. He got hit a lot. I mean, he was ninth in the MVP poll. That's interesting. But I mean, yeah, it was an amazing season by Geno. I was very happy by it. I mean, over 100 rating, over a 60 QBR. I'd argue he was the sixth or seventh best quarterback in the NFL this year. And some people will say, well, you should have just franchise tagged him because I believe it would have cost a little bit less, draft a replacement. But we don't. What I love about this move is that it gives the Seahawks a direction. Geno is our guy. We are going to try and win a Super Bowl with Geno because he plays at a top 10 level. I love that. I love that direction. If you look at it, he's 32. Okay, he'll be playing this contract at 33, 34, 35. I don't care because if you look at it, there is nothing about Geno Smith that says next year or the year after that, he can't do what he did this season. As he gets more comfortable in the system, builds more chemistry with his receiving core, hopefully gets better protection by his offensive line. I mean, let's not even imagine that scenario where he actually has time to throw. He could put together an amazing season even better than this. So I like the move. I think we're going to be getting a top 10 quarterback for $35 million a year. I'll take it any day of the week. So if you look at our cap space and how it affects it, this is before the move, of course. So we had 23 million. Just assume the Geno Smith contract is very basic. Now we have negative 12 million. How do we get back into the cap space? Let me show you here. Two moves. Shelby Harris, Gabe Jackson, cut them both. Bam. Now we have more money to work with post Geno contract. So I love the move and I'm very happy. Next up, what do we have here? Let's go to another quarterback. Massive quarterback situation here in New Orleans. They land Derek Carr. What does that mean? So I like it for both ends. I like it for Derek Carr because maybe he did want to go to the Jets. Maybe he wanted to go to the Panthers, but why wait on Aaron Rodgers and what he wants to do when he can go to a team with probably the best offensive weaponry out of all of them and put himself in a position to not only get paid a lot of money, I mean 4 years, 150 million, that's a lot of money, but also probably be a lock to win that division. I mean, let's look at the other quarterbacks in that division besides Derek Carr. Falcons, Desmond Ridder. Panthers, right now, Matt Corral. Buccaneers, right now, Kyle Trask. I mean, the other three teams in that situation are a mess, or in that division are a mess. And you got the Saints with a top 10 quarterback, in my opinion. Let's look at Derek Carr. And I think he gets shit on a lot for no real reason. I'm not really sure why Derek Carr gets as much hate as he does. He's a four-time Pro Bowler, and if you look at it, these last two seasons, were his prime, in my opinion. I mean, 4,800 yards and then 4,100 yards, 27-9 touchdown interception ratio. He wasn't a Pro Bowler either of these seasons, and he played very well. So, I mean, Derek Carr has a body of work for, I mean, going back nearly a decade now of good quarterback play. And this is a steal for the Saints. Oh, I shouldn't say a steal. He's getting paid a good amount of money. But to snatch away a good quarterback, a very good quarterback who will most likely win you the division at least the next two seasons, just out of nowhere, I love it. Now, they are going to have to work some salary cap voodoo to get back under the cap, but that's what the Saints do. I have no idea what they can do to get under this cap. Let's just try something. Let's say you cut Cam Jordan, Kamara, and Jameis Winston. Still not even close. So I'm not sure what they can do. They'll figure it out, but they got their quarterback, and I am happy for them. What's next? Okay, let's get into the next biggest player, I guess you could say. Another Raider. Well, former Raider in Derek Carr's case, but Josh Jacobs got tagged today. Um, Deservingly so. I mean, Raiders, if they would have lost Josh Jacobs, that would have just been a disaster. I mean, led the entire league in yards from scrimmage, deservingly all pro first team. Um, there will be those people that say you shouldn't pay a running back ever. If you pay a running back, you're doing it wrong. Look at the Chiefs, won a Super Bowl while paying their starting running back $1 million. And I get all that. But the Chiefs starting running back was not Josh Jacobs. If you got a guy who's 24 years old, let's keep that in mind, who's leading the league in total yards, leading the league in total touches, and he shows no injury history. I mean, look at this. I mean, most he missed was his rookie year. He missed 3 games. He shows no signs of slowing down. I think you pay Josh Jacobs. And that's all this franchise tag really does. I mean, he's obviously not going to play next season on the franchise tag. This just gives them, uh, um, I think, until July sometime to work out a long-term deal. And I think, they should work out a long-term deal with Josh Jacobs. I think he's more than deserving of it. And every situation is different for running back. You can't just say you should never pay a running back. You should always pay a running back. It's always situational. And I think in this situation, he is more than deserving of that long-term deal. Another similar situation is the Cowboys franchise tagging Tony Pollard. Let's take a look at that. Tony Pollard obviously having a massive breakout year this season. All out of nowhere over or nearly 1,400 total yards, 12 total touchdowns, and 0 fumbles. Very deserving of his Pro Bowl selection. And I was not expecting this whatsoever because I was just assuming that they let Tony Pollard walk, probably bring back Dalton Schultz. But it was the opposite. They let Dalton Schultz walk and decided to bring back Tony Pollard on the franchise tag. Now, a lot of people are dunking on the Cowboys for that because, they're between Zeke now and Tony Pollard, they're paying them $25 million next season. And like I said, the Chiefs paid $1 million for their Super Bowl winning franchise running back. But what this really means, if you read between the lines, is that the Cowboys are almost telling you that something's going to happen with Ezekiel Elliott. I'm not sure what that is, whether it is a restructuring of his contract or just flat out releasing him. They got to do something with Zeke because you cannot be paying $25 million for 2 running backs. It just doesn't work. Let's take a look at Zeke and the massive fall off, I should say, that's happened with his career. Obviously, broke in, amazing, all pro, Pro Bowl, historic entrance to the league. Let's look at this. I mean, 4.5 yards a carry, 4 yards, 4.2, down below 4 yards a carry. And I mean, due to the emergence of Tony Pollard, Zeke has been eliminated from the pass game. I mean, look at that. Every year of his career before that, at least 250 yards a season in the pass game, 92 this year. That won't get it done. And Zeke, for the first time, failed to crack 1,000 total yards. He still had 12 touchdowns on 0 fumbles. That's impressive, but I mean, you just can't win Super Bowls by paying a backup running back is what Zeke is nowadays, paying him $15 million. So they have to work something out with that. And by putting the franchise tag on Tony Pollard, you have set the timer on Zeke's stay in Dallas. Talking about another move that was made was the Jaguars. Well, 2 moves. Not one indirectly by them and one directly by them. They put the franchise tag on Evan Ingram, who he himself had a great year for a tight end. I mean, 766 yards, 73 catches, 4 touchdowns. Undeniably the best year of his career in general. I mean, if you look at that, they bring him back for not a lot of money, not long term either. So, you still leave the door and open in the future for cap flexibility. But also something that happened today was, let's see if I can pull it up here, was Calvin Ridley was reinstated by the league. And, let's see if I can find. Okay, here it is. Calvin Ridley was reinstated. And I would like to, let me go on a little rant for a second. The fact that guys like Deshaun Watson, whatever's going to happen with Alvin Kamara, all of these guys that beat their wives or assault people. Oh, shit, I'm not trying to hear nobody. But all these people that do horrible things and get little to no punishment by the NFL. And Calvin Ridley gets a whole year. It was just indefinite in general, but suspended a whole year for gambling. This is what happened. He bet like a couple $100, right? bet on his own team. He bet on his team to win the game. It's not like he was throwing a game betting against his team, and he wasn't even playing in the game. So it's like, I'd understand if this man bet $1 million on the opposite team and he threw the game. That's unforgivable, right? Kick him out the league. But dude bet like $200 on the Falcons to win a game that he wasn't even playing. Like, it's absurd to me that you ban a guy for a whole year for that. But nonetheless, it happened, and the Jaguars were able to acquire Calvin Ridley for next to nothing as a result. So let's take a look at Calvin Ridley and what he's going to bring to Jacksonville. His last healthy season, 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns. Amazing, incredible. He was all-pro second team that year. You know, and if we look at the Jags receiving core now, it's Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, and one of the Joneses, either Zay Jones or Marvin Jones. That's a great receiving core, and Trevor Lawrence should be stoked by this. Great news for Jacksonville, and they are moving forward with a full head of steam into next season. What else happened today? Well, let's just talk about the multiple star middle linebackers that have entered free agency. The Vikings today releasing Eric Kendricks, and this was kind of expected. I mean, he was all-pro second team this year, I believe. Former all-pro as well. I mean, he's just a great player. Might go into their Ring of Honor. I mean, who knows? But he was just a great player who was a cap casualty for the Vikings, and he will be a great pickup for whoever decides to spend the money on him because, I mean, he's only 30 years old, will be 31 next season, I believe, and he's about to get paid by another team. So he's not really crying about his departure from the Vikings, and he is on to new territories and cap casualty right there. And also, of course, everybody knows that Bobby Wagner was released by the Rams. He was an all-pro this season as well, and the highest rated middle linebacker, I believe, this season. Absolute stud. First ballot Hall of Famer. He's 32 years old, but I mean, I think he still has more left in the tank. Would love to see him return to Seattle. That would be a huge pickup for us. And yeah, another star middle linebacker entering free agency. Another one here. Let's see if I can find it. Not sure if I can find it, but it was the Chiefs releasing Frank Clark. And this is kind of obvious. I'd rather actually look at it in here because if you look at the Chiefs and their cap situation, they had to release somebody, one of their top guys. And I mean, if you look at their top guys, who's the obvious candidate here to get released to free up cap space? Is it going to be Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, Mahomes? No, it's going to be Frank Clark. I mean, look, just a massive cap hit for Frank Clark. And he may have been worth that at one point in time. It is not this point in time. And look at that. Let's actually take a look at their cap space. Goes from negative $4 million, 4 under the cap, to boom, 17 million cap space out of nowhere, just from cutting Frank Clark. I mean, and I'm sure he's not mad about it. You know, 3 Pro Bowls in his time in Kansas City, 2 Super Bowls, played a big role every one of those seasons. I mean, look at the playoff production for Frank Clark in this stretch. I mean, absolutely crucial to their playoff success. And yeah, you know, good career from him so far. I mean, he's still under 30. They could bring him back, if anything, for less money. You know, so it just wasn't worth that. You know, for 5-6 sacks a season, the regular season, to be paying that much money. But yeah, great move from the Chiefs to free up all that cap space. What else happened today? Oh, Combine news. I will make a whole separate video about the Combine, so I don't want to talk about that yet. But Andrew Voorhees did tear his ACL in a Combine drill. Very unfortunate. Interior offensive lineman from USC, probably a 2nd or 3rd round pick, most likely a 3rd round pick, but he did tear his ACL during the Combine. Horrible news, you know. He is 24, won't play his first game until he's 25, so this definitely affects his draft stock. And yeah, just not a good look for Voorhees. Well, nothing he can control, obviously, just sad outcome there at the Combine. Let me make sure it's everything. A lot happened today. Tried to get through it quickly, and yeah. I will end it right there, and just wanted to give a quick update. I don't know how many of these I'll be doing. You know, if there's another day where a bunch of shit happens for agency, I'll make another flash video like this. So yeah, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
It's out the motherfucking back. Right out the niggas don't know how to act.